Hey Magic players, Matt here from MTG, and today I've got some 0 rare standard decks for you. Best of 1 decks, 4 standard, with literally just commons and uncommons filled with them, no rares or mythics. So these decks are great for beginner players, budget players, or if you just fancy playing something a bit different, but don't want to waste the rare wild cards, but potentially you could upgrade these over time as well. So without further ado, we're going to get on to these decks. Just want a little shout out for my Patreons. Thank you. If that's something you're interested in, check it out. 90% of you, we get a lot of people watching the videos, but apparently 90% of you aren't subscribed. So please rectify that. Help us get to 20,000 subs this year. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, it really does help out. But let's get on to today's decks. So the first deck we're going for is a Life Gain deck. Now, Life Gain is a very competitive best of 1 deck currently, and this is a version that you will be able to play with literally 0 rares. Very easy to upgrade if you go and look at some of the more competitive mono white decks. This still runs the majority essence of that deck and really does work like a dream. We've added a few new cards in, of course, from Edge of Eternities in here. So you've got your basic creature package here, which revolves around the Sanctifier. This turn 1 really does help bring on those lands. So we've got the Hinterland Sanctifier here that really is a good basis for turn 1 if you can get this onto the battlefield and get that, the life gain just starting to build up. Perfect this deck against the red decks, of course. Healer's Hawk as a 4 of, Leon in Vanguard as a 4 of. If you've got 3 creatures on this, we'll get a +1/+1 to end a turn and trigger another life gain as well. And the Lurker Bat. So you've got there, 16 1-drops that are just really good, and potentially you will have at least 1 or 2 of these in your opening hand. We then go on to what makes, our beta. In the common and uncommon status, we have Ajani's Primate. Obviously, there is a rare type version that does a similar sort of thing as this, but this is our creature that will just get huge, and the amount of life we gain just puts all the counters on this and will always be a target for your opponents. But you literally can go wide with this deck with the amount of creatures that it does run. 28. So, we can come back from Wraths, we can come back from Day of Judgments, anything like that with this deck, potentially, because we've got so many creatures that we can potentially put into play. Cathar Commando is in there. Good because there's a lot of enchantments and artifacts at the moment, so this is just a good utilising card in there. If not, a 3/1 beta is also nice as well and can be flashed in and get rid of some, really annoying artifacts that might sweep up our board, like the new Pinnacle from Edge of Eternities. No lockdown now, but there's still a thing obviously now in standard with that's there. Last creature to talk about in the deck is Overseer. I like it, 2/1, gains 1 life and draws a card, so it gives us a bit of card draw as well, which is nice to get through and hopefully refill our hands, because this deck you will potentially just drop your hand with so many creatures, and you've got to be aggro, you've got to be going down there and really attacking your opponents with this type of deck. Removal, we have a Case of the Gateway. This comes in, more creatures on the field the better to get rid of an annoying creature, and once this is solved, once we get the attacks going, all these little 1/1s and 1/2s and everything get a little buff, +1/0. Really nice. We can get a couple of these on the field and get that double bumpage. Is nice. Shelter by Ghost, premium removal, one of the best removals in white. Helps with lifelink, War 2. Get it on your Ajani's if you can to give that lifelink and a bit more harder to kill. And then Banishing Light has been reprinted and put back in with Edge. So this is nice. Get rid of Planeswalkers if we need, or just anything that's super annoying for us. I've added in from Edge Scout for Survivors. Just seems a really good, because obviously a premium removal in all of standard, as always, is a removal set. Removal format, of course. So this can help us bring stuff back from the graveyard, return target creature cards with total mana of 3 or less. We've got lots of 1-drops there. Put them all back into the field once they die with 1/1 counters on. Land base, which is what is good about budget. All planes, don't have to worry about it. You got your planes, you've got this deck. Mono White Life Gain, really fun and really competitive as well for a 0 rare deck. Let's get on to the next one. We're now going Mono Black Aggro. So get a couple of really, really sweet cards now, and they can really make the difference to your open hands and how quickly you go, because Timeline Colour is a superb card. You can warp this in at turn 1, get in for the 2 damage, then play it later, later turn for 2/2, so 2 double black. Then it's still coming in with haste. It's just a really good aggressive card. And you're seeing this a lot in competitive decks as well. So I feel like this one is just a straight 4 of in the deck. They had some really good uncommons black in the Edge of Eternities. An Umbral Collar Zealot is a 3/2 above the stats for the 2 mana. Sacking a creature, if it's going to die anyway, you can sack another creature to surveil one, and then, you can basically craft your hands kind of thing. But it's just all in all a very good deck, even though it's not in a dedicated sacrifice deck. This is still, a 3-2 for 2, so it works very well in that aggro deck as well. Putting in Gatekeeper and Malakir, creature pseudo removal as well. You can pay that easy kicker of 1. So turn 3, this is really where you want it, so you can make opponents sack a creature while you can still keep attacking with your aggressive creatures. Turn 1 minor coming in, and then like I said, you've got turn 2 plays really strong in Timeline and Umbral, and then the kicker coming in with a bit of removal if needed. More removal from Edge. Tragic Trajectory, Sorcery Speed, but can get rid of something bit if something does leave. Now we can get the Void interaction by sacking a creature if we need to with Umbral, and then you're going to get the minus 10/10 as well. So pretty decent removal for this budget deck. Shoot the Sheriff, more removal, 4 of these, just good removal. And then going back more to the creatures, attacking hands a bit, Deep Coven Bat, peck away with the 1/1 lifelink as well, see what opponent's playing with so you know what to play, and then more exile from the hand with Ruthless Negotiation that can be flashbacked as well. So going with these two, I think they're very good low mana spells and works well with the deck. Last creatures I want for this deck is another Vampire Nighthawk, of course. If you want to play mono black aggro, flying, Death Touch, Lifelink, 3 mana, just as it is, a absolute amazing reprint. This one was one of my favourite old type of cards. Straight deck and is going to trade a lot with a lot of flyers or a lot of big creatures or anything. And then Lord Skitter's Butcher. Hadn't played this one, saw it in there when I was building the deck, and I just thought, yeah, if we can give our creatures menace, makes the, when you're aggro trying to get those last bits of damage in, this can be dropped later on in game and do really good. If not, sacrifice another creature, scry 2, draw a card, or we can just make another creature as well. But I really, you want to be using this potentially for the menace, saving that so you can get through and make it just harder for your opponents to block, and you've got lots of removal to do that as well today, and then you might just be able to get that free swing and win in. So if you like a bit of aggro, this mono black deck works pretty decent, and then the land base all swamped, nice and easy. Esper Pixie for 0 rares. Interesting deck, this one. We're going with a bit of a second spell theme as well, using quite a few new cards from the new set here. We got the Trajectory again. I just think this is a really good card. So this is, definitely coming in as a 3 of. If you've not played Pixie before, it's around nurturing Pixie where stuff comes in, return enters. This then you return a non-fairy, non-land permanent you control. So you're looking to bounce stuff, bounce your momentum breakers, bounce your nowhere to runs as well. We also have Cryogen Relic that can be bounced, and then you put it in to draw more cards. Sunpearl is the other creature that will do this in the deck. Flash flying, returning a permanent. If it was a token, you draw a card, but we're not, sort of worried about that. We can obviously do it with Spyglass Cannon, where that makes a map token potentially bounce that if we don't want to do anything on the field, and then get to draw a card as well. But these cards I like from the new set, and especially Station Monitor. Really good budget-friendly card, this one. 2/2. When you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 colourless drone with flying. So, we got lots of low mana costing spells here. As you can see, like the average CMC spell here is only 1.8. So we can occasionally chain off a few spells and trigger this if we can. Bringing in a Null into this. Reprinted, put into this standard. This is just a different version because I don't have the updated version in my collection, but I'm not going to craft it when I already have it. That's another trick for you new players and beginners. You might have some of the cards in your collection that are from an old set. You can still play them in standard as long as nothing's changed on the card. A Null has been reprinted. This is just an old version of it and can be played. So if you're transporting your decks and sometimes it's saying it's missing, just search a card like if it's a Null and then see that you have which version in your deck as well. Just a little tip there. A little bit of counter magic. We've got No More Lies, and then I've got removal with Exercise, a single of Ride's End as well. We do have Trajectory, which I said I feel like is a good one. But this is a 3-colour deck, so in this, occasionally you are going to get stuck on the lands with this deck. It's not like a mono budget 0. This one is being a bit more adventurous in playing 3 colours. I've been testing out this one, Command Bridge from Edge. When this enters, sacrifice it, and yes, you tap and untap permanent control, then that can be a land as well. but adding 1 mana of any colour for a common land, I feel like this is acceptable, and it's worked out fine so far for me, and I feel like it's, it's a good inclusion and helps with it. We got neglected mana, the ones that come in untapped for 13 or less life, that and the Murky Sewer, so that potentially late game can help out. But you have to try, the best with the budget lands. Changing the, if you want to upgrade this but keep the main portion, you want to add some rare lands in, it will only make the deck better. So any of the colour dual lands like these in the rares will most likely be better than the Scout Barons and the Dismals and, cards like that. Really fun deck, this one. Takes a bit of getting used to, takes a bit of learning, but really enjoyable, and better than just sometimes making difficult decks. In budget can be these 2 and 3 colour decks because of the land base, but I want to give you the option to play something a little bit different. Mono green now, so we're going now for mono green aggro landfall type of deck. Does work very well with Jacobo, of course. We know how good landfall is, so easily upgradable to go to the full version, but the full version of this, does have a lot of rares in. It really does. So, you're looking for a slightly less version, but less powered down version, but still be able to get you some wins. Then this one is it, with a little bit of a change. So a lot of still the same cards here. Lano RL's in there, I said Jacobo, the protection spells in Veil, and then it still runs the shoot poof. Whenever landing control, put a 1/1 counter, so it's a good way to build up your creatures. Now, where we go a little bit different in this, we add in a few different cards. So Melstrider's Gear, attach target creature you control, a quick creature gets +2/+1. So when this comes in, you can attach it straight to a creature. So this is where we go from sort of landfall into landfall aggro type of deck. We then have where is it? Summon Fenrir. Different one, but creature that's in the normal landfall deck. It's still a good aggro creature. 3/2 for 3 that does disappear, of course, but it helps you go and get a land, so then will trigger your Chacobos or your Shapoofs, or it can make your Flourishing Bloom King a little bit bigger. This one gets +1/1 for each forest you control. Can be played for its face down cost for 3 and then flip and then go and get more forests. When you're having all these forests come in, we need some other things to trigger. So from the new set, Ice Cave Crasher, a 4/4 with trample that gets +1/0 with every land that enters on that turn. So it's got landfall, a big beta potentially, and then use Social Engineering. Whenever a land you control enters, create a 2/2 colours robot. Now you can warp this in, so you can, it costs 5, but you can quickly warp this in. And then get some triggers just to make some 2/2s. So warp in for 2, don't do the 5, and then maybe get some triggers with some of your lands coming in as well. So that can then be played at a later turn. What's good about this deck is that the budget decks work perfectly with it. So your Evolving Wilds, your Escape Tunnels, land after land, 2 lands coming in a turn, trigger, 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 trigger. You can see what this deck is all about. Trigger, trigger with this, making this bigger, and then Chocobo just gets bigger and bigger. This is a really cool aggro deck. It was, putting a slightly different spin on the landfall deck by adding in some fun cards in the common and uncommon status. A little bit different, but if you do want to go full power on the landfall, you'll have to wait for my next video. But this is mono green aggro. Last deck, and I wanted to do a sack deck. So we got black-white Orzhov Sac here. Built around, some cards like Bartholomew. This is a nice 2/1 legendary, sacrifice another creature or artifact. You get to, try and make this bigger if you can. And we want some things to happen when our creatures die. Of course, perfect for this deck is Umbra Collar Sacrifice deck. We have got this in a dedicated sacrifice deck. And you'll see a few copying creatures in here like we had Trajectory in the previous one. I've actually gone for Eaten Alive in this because of the sack effect for it. So good removal, exile a creature or planeswalker, and we can sack a creature. Sack Infesting Stage, when we dies, we get an insect flying token 1/1. When the Link Breaker dies, we get a 1/1 red mercenary. When Nesting Bot dies, we create a 1/1 servo. So there is all benefits from all of our creatures dying. And then from Final Fantasy, we have our bed salvagers in the deck. So whenever a creature or another creature artifact we control dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So we have the drain and gain effect from that. and the Blood Witch as well. So double drain and gain. Sometimes you don't even need to attack. You can start sacking stuff and then the triggers will all mount up and then you can win the game without even trying. Scout for Survivors, perfect for this deck, returning those creatures back to the battlefield after they've been sacked to sack again, make more creatures when they leave, coming with 1/1 counters, so be good as attacking. But that is the idea of this deck. It's really cool, synergistic. So if you like sack decks, this one's going to be for you. And like I said, there's a lot of crossovers with the mono black. You've got the colour in here, so you might be able to put those two decks together and give yourself two different decks to play. This one is really fun. Land base, simple again, loads of basics, and then we're running the flats to deal damage because we've got a drain and gain thing on, so I feel like this one better than the life gain one will be in the deck because we're trying to drain and gain, so flats dealing damage. And then our favourite one for budget players, Neglected Mana, that potentially sometimes can come in untapped and be a perfect land for us. But hey, there is 5 different 0 rare decks. The first from Edge of Eternities for you. Next video after this, I think will be, well, we'll have a short coming out Saturday. If you didn't see yesterday's short, please go and check that out. It was a good pack opening. And then I'll have some budget competitive mono decks coming out on the video after this, which I think will be on Sunday. So make sure you subscribe and be watching out for that. Thanks for watching today's video. If you want to get any of these cards in paper though, check out the channel sponsors, Cardmarket. If you're in Europe, you can go and buy these cards from that site. Biggest marketplace in Europe. But thanks a lot for watching. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.